settlers from Britain brought with them three types of music: religious music, folk dances, and nursery rhymes. Being around the time of the American Revolution, music was sounding pretty patriotic. Songs like Yankee Doodle, Amazing Grace, and the Star-Spangled Banner, and O Shenandoah emerged around this time. Moving on to the South, blues music has a much deeper history. Back when slavery was legal, Africans who worked on the plantations would sing in the fields, creating a rhythm while they worked. The sound could be mournful, excited, or more about the harmony. After the Civil War, African Americans stayed mostly condensed in the South. Still feeling rejected by society, black music mostly contains elements of pain and self-pity, hence blues. The 1950s brought teenage rebellion and rock and roll. Popular artists from this decade include Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, Johnny Cash, and Tony Bennett. The 1960s were a time of upheaval in society, fashion, attitudes, and especially music. This was also a time of the British invasion, which brought the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and The Who. Also during this time period, other artists emerged like Led Zeppelin, Bob Dylan, Simon and Garfunkel, and the Beach Boys. The 1970s bridged the gap between the rebellious era of the 60s to the upbeat happiness of the 80s. Summing up the 1970s can be used with one word: disco. Artists from this decade include the Village People, ABBA, Eagles, and the Ramones. The 1980s brought flamboyancy in every way possible: the music, the fashion, and the hair. The creation of MTV was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, influences to the music scene. Artists from every genre were popular, including Madonna, Michael Jackson, Run DMC, The Police, Twisted Sister, and Guns N' Roses. The 1990s brought a lot of one-hit wonders, but also some classic bands. Artists from this decade include the Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, MC Hammer, Green Day, Linkin Park, Mariah Carey, and Nirvana. Moving on to the most disappointing decades for music, the 2000s and 2010s brought hip-hop, auto-tune, and way too many pop artists. Early 2000s pop artists weren't too awful, but it progressively got worse. Popular artists from this decade include Maroon 5, Justin Timberlake, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, and Katy Perry.